Hello, and today we're doing a double game week, or should I say triple game week review of match week number 35 in the 2020-21 FPL season. We're going to look back at what my score was in game week 35, how we got on, and how successful were our transfers. Before we get into any of that, let me tell you some stats about my FPL career as an FPL manager. So I've gone through the archive, I've dug out some facts and statistics. So my first season of FPL was in 2017 to 18. And that season I got an overall points tally of 1,940, which is not great, but it's something. My overall rank that year, my first rank as an FPL player, 1,024,509. So at this point, I was very amateur. I was just getting used to the game, and I was taking hits like there was no tomorrow because I took a total of minuses for that season of minus 160. So yeah, not ideal stuff. It could have been even better with the points, but no, we finished on 1,940. Then the 18-19 season, we got actually a worse total because we once again were reckless with our minuses. So we finished on a total points of 1,872, so it's less from the previous year, and we had a really poor rank of 3,391,639. So then our minuses was the ugly bit, basically. We just had a bit of fun. We didn't really care about the game. We went for a minus 256 hit across the whole season. Not great at all. And then last season, once again, we kind of didn't take it as seriously as maybe we should have, but it was still not too bad considering my previous records. We finished the 1920 season on 2,006 points with a total minus hit of 120. So that left us at our second best rank after the 17-18 season, but this time it was 1,834,000, and then I think it was 861. So that is not bad, 1.8 mil. But this season, we're completely smashing those records. We're currently ranked at a jaw-dropping 307,000. So you really can't complain with that. This season, we've actually taken it seriously. We haven't taken hits where we've, not needed to. And we've got some good players in. And it's been a pretty successful season, all in all. So, yeah, that would be amazing. Anything above 1,024,000, I've beaten my rank. So we just got to keep on pushing and try and get a bit of a better FPL player each season. But that is interesting. All of my ranks and all of my previous points. So talking of points, how did we get on in the triple game week 35? Well, I shall tell you that now, people. And to be honest, there's a lot to get through in terms of reactions to certain players that did well or didn't do well. Now, if you had Mateus Pereira this week, fair play. He, of course, got that goal, but it wasn't enough for that West Bromwich Albion side to stay in the Premier League. They were relegated, as were Fulham with their loss against Burnley. I don't think many people would have had Fulham FPL assets, so, that's not too much of a problem. But it's interesting when you look at the likes of Matt Targett, who I didn't own this week, and I haven't owned for a few weeks because I just thought the Villa defence is starting to dry up, and that is the case. But fair enough, this week, Villa were much, much better in their game against Everton, and Matt Targett getting those clean sheet points. Rudiger, not even a thing to be seen in that Chelsea team, and he really didn't get that points that FPL managers would have wanted. And I don't have a Chelsea defender. I've only got Edouard Mendy, who, yes, he's not, inept from rotation, as part of that absolutely brutal Tuchel tombola, but it's better than nothing. It's the best I can do at this point, and, what can you do? It's like Mendy sometimes gets rotated out, sometimes he doesn't, but most of the time it's all right, and I think that Rudiger, he just, it was unfortunate to not play against Arsenal. Coleman, a lot of people own him, but I went for Luca Digne, and, he did the bits for me, really. I get that assist for the defender Godfrey was impressive, and that was nice. But at the end of the day, it didn't get the bonus points in the next game against Aston Villa. So you got to love it from Luca Dean. such a great haul from this double game week. So yeah, absolutely buzzing with that. And the other thing to say is Mason Greenwood. Now, Mason Greenwood is on fire, and I'm just a bit gutted I didn't go for it, basically. I said it when I posted my team on my Instagram. I basically said, yep, locked in for this triple game week. And I basically went, okay, I've made the transfers. Castagna out for Maguire. Ward-Prowse in for St. Maximan. I wasn't feeling Greenwood or Sigurdsson. And I really should have felt Greenwood because he did bits. But in hindsight, you can claim, oh, it would have been nice to get him. But, you know, who'd have known that he'd have featured? Luckily for him, I guess he hasn't been used all season, so he had the stamina to do it. But he was actually featuring in all 3 games. And of course, in 2 of those games, he goes and gets goals, which is just unbelievable. So fair play, Greenwood owners. I also noticed a little bit of Matt Ritchie was looking fantastic away to Leicester on Friday night. And equally, Mark Albrighton. And he followed that up with another assist against Man United to get that crucial goal to crown Manchester City as champions. Not saying they're necessarily good FPL options, but, you know, interesting. Albrighton has been a bit better in terms of his form recently. We know he's always got a great delivery in him. And we also went for Ward-Prowse this week. It's not ideal. He blanks in 2 games, but, I mean, at least Wilfried Zaha, who I was thinking about for, you know, instead of Ward-Prowse, he did no better than JWP, so I'm really not going to worry about it too much. Martinez, yeah, I've said about that Villa defence has started to be a bit more sloppy, but you got to keep Martinez. He's been the best goalie all season. He's got racking up points for those bonuses, and he was fantastic at home against Everton. That is the goalie we love to see. But the madness of this game week has to go down to Harry Maguire, who we brought in for Castagna, and I guess it is some kind of a gain that Castagna blanked in both games in terms of clean sheets, conceded 4 against Newcastle. But then Maguire, a player who wasn't injured all season, and he literally been playing in the Cups, been playing in the league. The first time in the entire season, in the entire year, that Maguire gets injured, and it has to be the week that I bring him in. Brilliant. So that's just absolute madness. Instead of what I wanted for him to have, the triple game week, I got from him a single game week, and it's just so annoying. Castagna getting 2 games, but at least he didn't punish me. So, yeah, it's a real gutting blow to see that from Maguire. He's now out for the season, and we're going to have to think about who we get in for him, basically, for this upcoming blank game week. Man United don't play anyway, so it's not the end of the world, but it's just so painful when you see that kind of thing. Castagna did end up playing more games, but at least he got no clean sheets. And Ward-Prowse, yeah, all right, he had 2 games, so you're always going to back him. He did actually outscore St. Maximan because, you know, he had more than 1 game. But it's the same to see him blank, and it's a 2-point gain, but at the end of the day, it is still disappointing. So, yeah, not great, really, the transfers. We need to move on from this game week. But let us just start from the basics and tell us how many points did we get this week. I usually end that with the video and, finish on that, but I'm going to start from that this week. We finished on a still very impressive score of 105. That's right, the 100 club. That's right, the triple game week, triple digit gang. Not a bad week, you got to say, to get into triple digits. And that was basically a score that you like to see. But a lot of people even got in the 130s, the 140s. So it could have been a lot better. And especially when you hear the scenarios that I'm about to describe to you. So perhaps one that I should soon forget. It was just tragic at times. So I mentioned that Maguire injury. That is just so frustrating. He gets 1 game instead of 3. And then the Everton game, okay, fair enough. Against Villa, it was a bit of a lovely thing for my team because you can say I get jammy, but it doesn't matter with that 0-0 because I did it. I got 3 bonuses for Emi Martinez and 2 for Lucas Digne in 1 game. Just fantastic. And Digne's been doing absolute bits for me ever since I brought him in for that game that he played a few weeks back. And that was, of course, the match up with Aston Villa in the reverse fixture. He went and got 3 bonus points in that game, and he's just not looked back since. So, yeah, I really cannot be much more happy with Lucas Digne's performance. And while we're on Lucas Digne, I mean, this guy, fair enough, Everton, away from home, they're a fantastic team, and they did just get 2 clean sheets away from home. So you really can't complain with that. To get the clean sheet versus West Ham would have been nice for some bonuses or some assists, but it is what it is. And then he goes and makes up for it in that Villa game with 2 bonus points. Just beautiful stuff from Luca. But in that same game, Emi Martinez just did so well to thwart players that I actually didn't want to score. Players that were threats to my rank, like Richarlison, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I mean, in the Man United game, he made some great saves, especially that one to deny Greenwood where he got down really, really well. But ultimately, Man United blew them away. Edinson Cavani, we should have signed him. And we should have signed, in hindsight, Emil Smith-Rowe, because he had an absolute stormer of 19 points in this double game week. But it is what it is. So Martinez still delivers with the save points and 4 in that Man United game to get him the extra point. But he, of course, did concede 3. So that's -1 on his tally. Unfortunate. But we went into the Everton game a little bit more hopeful. A bit more of a, pointable game, if that is even a word. But he does get the clean sheet and he makes some really good stops to deny Everton. But 5 saves, once again, he just racks up those save points. 3 bonus points. That is what I'm talking about, Emi Martinez. So what a decision by me to start Martinez over Mendy. And everyone would have just seen Mendy and been drawn to the flame and, just said, okay, start Mendy because he's getting clean sheets. But you can never trust the Tuchel Tombola. He doesn't play against Arsenal. Fair enough, he gets a penalty save against City, but it was the jammiest penalty save. I'm not having it. Like, you can say all you like, oh, well, yeah, you got to give all the credit to Mendy and it's an amazing save and all that stuff. Like, that's just, I'm not having it at this point. Like, fair enough, he does make the save and he could easily dive the other way. But at the end of the day, like, a fly could have saved that penalty. It was that poor from Sergio Aguero. Really not ending his Man City career on a high with that moment. But he's had brilliant other moments, so we can probably just about forgive him. But not a good penalty. And yeah, it's just absolute nightmare when you see Mendy get those penalty saves on the bench and then Martinez was on less. But he made up for it and he ended up beating his overall score with those 2 games instead of the 1 from Mendy. So absolutely love that. Then we move on to the other defender in our team, that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't think we need to talk about Harry Maguire because we know what happened there. It was unfortunate. 1 point, yellow card against Villa. Just don't like it. But then Trent goes and has an absolute stormer versus Man United. I mean, you can say to Trent, tough fixture, no chance. He'll say, mate, I'm the FPL maestro. I don't need a fixture. I get assists every week. And that, my friends, is a perfect delivery for Bobby Firmino. That first header, it is wonderful from the free kick. He's just got such an eye for a pass, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And he got bonus points in that Southampton game. Now, I'll admit, that Liverpool-Southampton game was pretty crazy in terms of bonus points. It felt like all of the Liverpool players were getting bonus points. But we'll take it. Trent is always putting in solid performances, gets himself another clean sheet. And the United game was always going to be pretty impossible for the clean sheet. But he makes up for it with attacking returns. And that is the Trent we love to see. 2 assists, both for Bobby Firmino. And yes, he conceded 2 goals, but it didn't matter because he got 2 bonuses. So it is an absolutely fantastic overall score across the 2 game weeks from Trent and from Digne. Digne 14, Trent 16, and of course Martinez 12. But then the last defender on our list had to go and completely bottle it. And I was watching that Wolves game thinking, mate, this is your chance. Lewis Dunk, you've not exactly helped me out in this team. Take this opportunity. And he gets a goal from the corner. It is an absolute thunderous header. And you're thinking, get in. That is what we want to see. We started him this week because, yes, he had the 1 game. And yeah, it was all right for a fixture. But we just had the faith that he'd score a set-piece goal, just like he did in the reverse fixture at Amex Stadium. And he did it again versus Wolves. Beautiful stuff. And at this point, I'm in 7th heaven. Lewis Dunk with a 7-pointer on the horizon. And a clean sheet and possible 3 bonuses. But then, after he took his chance, he really did blow his chance. And what is he doing? I mean, it's just brainless to go and do that when you're 1-0 up. I wouldn't say comfortable because Wolves still had a threat, but it just was a kind of game they could see out with Brighton's defensive solidity in past weeks. why is he doing that? It's just needless on Fabio Silva. And red card, last man, just bottles it. He just jumps out of my team as soon as he scores. And it's not the worst thing, I guess. 3 points, but when you have a player score a goal, you just want them to like get protected and, you know, get off the pitch. It might not be a clean sheet point, but at least I don't have anything else happen. And yeah, no, he has to go and get a red card. And he couldn't even get a red card after the 60-minute mark, because then maybe he would have got a clean sheet. I don't know. But the point is, Wolves went on to win that game anyway, and that red card really did change the game. So yeah, he scores a goal. He's got great attacking threat, but he's just left it too late for my team and goes and gets himself sent off for the very disappointing 3-pointer. But moving swiftly on, Son Heung-min, 7 points. You love to see it. He is very consistent right now. He only had one game, but I still had faith in that Son-Kane link-up. Unfortunately, Kane couldn't score a goal of his own. He was cruelly denied by VAR, and I think he also had a very good shot from a free kick that, you know, was very close to going in, but not quite for Harry Kane. So just wasn't his day. A bit like the Sheffield United game, Harry couldn't quite get that moment of magic, but Son does produce that time and time again. It's a brilliant goal because the way that Ali, he's not been exactly doing well in the team recently and not playing the minutes, but he just slots it through the gap and Son slots it past Meslier, so you can't complain with that. Lovely little goal from Son Heung-min. It's not enough to get a bonus point though, because Leeds absolutely blazed past them to end off that game. So it is what it is, but Son's got great fixtures. Bruno Fernandes, captain, fantastic. Thank you very much. It always had to be him. You know, you can say what you like. He had triple games. It would be silly not to captain him because of how high his ownership is, how high the captaincy rank and statistics were. So it had to be done. And a lot of people, if they were lucky enough to, you know, just not bother doing triple captain, and somehow this jammy triple game week comes together because of that United game getting called off due to the Glazer protests, then you got lucky if you still had your triple captain. You had to play it this week, and fair enough, it was a great week to play it. Very, very good. 59 points or something like that for Bruno Fernandes after his 19-pointer. So, yeah, absolutely amazing. And 38 points as captain is just a wonderful thing to see. You know, the first game does his bits. You know, he doesn't have to be in a game. He just gets a penalty and he slots it away against Villa once again. 3 bonus points was a little bit of a daylight robbery, but we'll take it in that Villa game. Then the Leicester game, all right, fair enough. It's, you know, close proximity to the last one and he does get the rest, but he comes on for 12 minutes. Then the next one, he plays 90 minutes, he gets the goal, he gets a bonus point as well. In that game that had 6 goals, it could have been, you know, distributed a bit differently. So we've got to be happy with that. And I certainly am. 38 points for the captain. James Ward-Prowse, we mentioned, a bit frustrating that he couldn't get those goals. Liverpool was a fixture I wasn't expecting much from. It was more that Palace game we were targeting. And, you know, at the end of the day, the fixtures are quite good right now for Liverpool. So I thought that maybe it would be a nice one for Trent if Ward-Prowse doesn't score, and that was the case. We got the clean sheet points. But you just expected Ward-Prowse to do something against Palace, and yeah, he just was playing a bit too deep, really, to get those FPL points. So it's a bit disappointing, but hopefully he'll be back doing something else in the next few weeks. Let's see how that one goes, but it is what it is. It's a blank across both games, 2 points respectively in both, so 4 overall. Then we get to the forward line, and basically, it's not good. The overall picture is it's not good. The Wally of the week this week has to be one man and one man only, and that is Ollie Watkins. I mean, we have him for the double. We're thinking, oh yes, Ollie Watkins has been in fantastic form. He's got to start over, you know, my single game week players. He's got to be getting points this week in this double. And what does he do? He goes and gets sent off versus Manchester United. I mean, it's needless. It really is. The yellow card, the second one for the dive, I think there's contact there. He has to kind of anticipate the contact from Henderson, but it's still a little bit too dramatic, hence why he does see red. And it's just so frustrating to have a player you think is going to play 2, ends up playing 1, misses that Everton game. Not good, because he could have put a goal past Luka Dean, but actually would I have wanted that? In hindsight, maybe not, but it's never good when you get a red card, especially for a striker. We don't see that very often, and -1 points this week for Watkins. It is awful. And I actually saw someone in the top 10k captained Ollie Watkins this week. So if you did, commiserations. That would be -2 for the captaincy. So yeah, it really wasn't good. But at the end of the day, we've got to move on. And as I mentioned, that game for Everton against Villa might have helped Luca Digne. And we mentioned how those Merseyside defenders of Digne and Trent were absolutely on fire this week. So that does help us in the grand scheme of things. But in this game week, it really didn't help. Watkins, lack of sportsmanship and lack of cleverness, really. So you can't do a lot about that. But ultimately, we wanted to get into the 100 club this week, and the bonuses helped me do that. I think we're on 96 during that Liverpool game, or 97 or something like that. And then we had bonuses in the Villa game and in the Liverpool game. So you really, really can't complain with that. So 105 points overall. The -4 hit brought it down to 101 technically, but it's still a great score. The tragic thing about this week is we get triple digits, and it's so brutal because it's still a red arrow. Like, what more am I supposed to do? It's just, we had a lot of problems this week. It didn't quite deliver, and fair enough, maybe we should have got a few more triple game week players, but we didn't want to take loads of hits this week, so we just did what we could, really, and that's the way it goes. Fernandes, he delivers again. He's an absolute hero. He's the hero of the week because, he did so well as the captain. But moving on to another player who disappointed this week, that is Harry Kane. Harry Kane did have a good fixture and it looked appetising against Leeds, but he just didn't deliver. He didn't quite get the chance, get the luck of the draw, and I mentioned how he had that goal ruled out. So yeah, it really is a shame. It would have been a wonderful goal, by the way that Spurs worked it so well, and then he just dinked it over the goalie. But nah, VAR said no, and Harry Kane now 2 blanks in a row against very good fixtures. It's a bit concerning, but it's still Harry Kane. He's been so good all season. He'll probably still win the Golden Boot, so you got to give him a fair little bit of slack, and just hope he can be better in this next game against Wolves. But in terms of that Leeds game, it was just a bit of a nightmare, really. We had Son, all right, nice, but we had Kane who blanked, and then of course Stuart Dallas, if we can get the words out, we benched him. Of course we did. It had to be done. I'm sorry. I had so many players on doubles, and he was the only one on a single, pretty much, and he had a terrible fixture against Spurs. And we saw in the reverse fixture them absolutely tear Leeds apart at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So how was I supposed to know he would get a jammy rebound goal after a bit of a mistake from Sergio Reguilon, nearly scoring an own goal, and he just kind of smashes it over the Lloris dive and can't stop that one. So yeah, 2 points from Kane. You hate to see it, but even more hate to see it, 9 points from Stuart Dallas. He gets bonuses as well, just to rub salt in the wounds. This guy just scores when he doesn't get other managers playing him. It's like, what am I supposed to do? It was just not a nice fixture, and fair enough, Dallas has been an absolute sensation this season. So that is my only regret this week, benching the Lord Stuart Dallas. But moving on quickly, we did have Kelechi Iheanacho, and he at least is doing, once again, what Iheanacho does, and that is getting goals. And he was brilliant, actually, in his goal against Newcastle, in a game where Leicester really were struggling. They did get absolutely blown away by Newcastle's, play on the break. And then they got a couple of consolations back, and yeah, Newcastle maybe were sweating a little bit towards the end there, but Iheanacho, what a fantastic goal. He gets it from that pass from, I think, Perez or Vardy, but the point is, he's got so much to do from there, and he just completely bewilders the Newcastle defence, cuts in on his left-hand side, and then does so well to kind of squeeze it under the body of Matt Ritchie, and it just goes in, bottom corner. Lovely stuff. Iheanacho once again, the vice-captain, not exactly doing bits in the Man United game, but will take the 9 points from Kelechi. So the bench was Mendy on 11 points, but it was, of course, less than Martinez, so that's what we love to see. 1 from Lingard. Great decision to bench him this week because I just fancied that Everton clean sheet, and it did come for Lucas Digne, and he got a yellow card as well, so not a great day out for Lingard, but it's still J-Lings. He's still very, very nice on his day. Bowen, once again, disappointing. He's not been a good transfer for me, I'll admit. But at the end of the day, you've got to keep patient. Their fixtures are looking lovely. And hopefully he'll just start a few more games in the next few weeks for Jared Bowen. And finally, we mentioned Stuart Dallas, 9-pointer. Not exactly ideal. So How has that affected our rank? It's a rank drop with a red arrow, which stings. It's the drop of 26k, and we've dropped to a rank of 307,028, which was originally 281,415. So, yeah, it is awful to get a red arrow, and that is our first red arrow for 4 game weeks. And in a triple game week, you never would have called it, but just got unlucky this week. We've got to go again in game week 36, which is a blank game week, so we really do have to, make some interesting moves to get us up the ranks. But it's an overall points total of 2,163, which is not bad. Still a good rank in terms of overall for the season. But yeah, thanks for nothing, Ollie Watkins. We go again in game week 36, and at least we did smash the average this week, which was 83. Our game week rank was 1,418,110. And yeah, it's great to, smash that triple digit mark. And it's still a good game week, but just not quite good enough for a green arrow. It could have been so much more. We could have been talking the 130s if we got a few better players in terms of transfers. If it weren't for Harry Maguire's injury, if it wasn't for Watkins' red for diving, absolute plonker. And of course, that Dunk red card, the Ward-Prowse blank. But, as we mentioned, at least his predecessor, Alan St-Maximin, also blanked in his game against Leicester. I had to fancy Ward-Prowse. He had 2 games, but no result, unfortunately. Now, I'm thinking about Mo Salah, to be honest. Is it stupid of me to not own him at this point? Because he's scoring again against Man United. He's annoyingly just really good right now, and he's just too expensive for me to fit into my team. So I would have to sell Bruno, and I'm not willing to do that because let's just bench him this week and, then have him back for the final 2 games. Maybe we just break our team to get Salah in because he's getting quite annoying now. He's just he's in form. But one man who is on form, who some players have binned off, is Son Heung-min. So keep delivering, my guy, and let's hope that we can get some big points once again. I mean, to be fair, Harry Maguire, he probably would have got 0 points versus Liverpool anyway, so, we can't be too upset about it. But put it down in the comment section below. How did your Game Week 35s go? To be honest, I'm just glad to be in the 100 gang, but yeah, disappointed with the red arrow. And my 2 transfers this week gained me 2 points, and the other lost me 1 point. But back to the drawing board next week. At least there's signs of promise with that triple digit score. Let's go for Game Week 36. Thanks for watching. See you later.